Good morning. Nice of you guys to drop by.
What a piece of junk.
What are you talking about?
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
Look, don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine. Trust me.
I don't know what all this trouble is about, but I'm sure it must be your fault. Don't get technical with me.
This bickering is pointless.
Don't everybody thank me at once.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
How could you even say that?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Well, come on. Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Would you get going, you pirate?
Get in there, you big furry oaf! I don't care what you smell.
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
I like the sound of that.
Get a shuttle ready.
I don't know. Fly casual.
Shuttle Tydirium, what is your cargo and destination?
Transmission commencing.
Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Shuttle Tydirium podcast. We are the mothership of Casual X-Wing. I am your host, Captain Jim Chadwick. I do have, sitting next to me, my co-pilot, Phil. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing great. However, if you need to use the restrooms on this flight, I should warn you ahead of time that the Ewok crew got into the latrines and all of the toilet paper is missing. So, just you should be fine. Just, get creative.
We should probably talk to our head of human resources to see if there's any spare, fur wipes left over. J-Bot. How you doing, J-Bot?
I'm going to have to apologize to everybody for that. You see, we were making some room, and I was told them to install a VIP suite on the shuttle, and one thing led to another. They kind of took some stuff out of the suite, without kind of my okay. We'll take care of that later, but once this flight's over, we'll get that rearranged. But for now, hey, VIP suite.
Awesome. We'll get more into that later. But Biff, is there anything we can do to help get maybe some sort of bidet at least configured?
I'm sure we can find some kind of a busted pipe or something that's leaking and redirect it, if you will.
A water fountain. All right. Well, I do want to say that J-Bot did mention our VIP suite because we have got a celebrity on our cruise today. He's actually kind of a big deal on the internet. We have Joe Boss Red 7, and I brought him up here to the cockpit to kind of check it out and get a little Tydirium doll, shuttle toy. So, Joe Boss, how you doing?
Captain, I appreciate the accommodations. Very nice shuttle you're on there.
So you've been asking to get on the ride to Endor, and we finally had time to get you on. So welcome aboard. It's good to get you on board.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, and I look forward to providential flights.
Now, if anybody doesn't know, Joe Boss Red 7 is on the FFG forums. Have you ever seen somebody who posts a whole bunch of GIFs of all the different X-Wing ships? Who gets really excited, loves the game, posts a whole bunch, or at least used to, until FFG said that they got complaints that he was spamming the forums and he needed to watch how much he posts just pictures, that he was, quote, spammer.
Well, when you aggravate the cult leader, you get those followers. They like to tattle. Report him while we have a 3-year running off topic.
Yeah. No, you also do a blog, right?
Doing. Yes, I do.
Tell us about it.
It's pretty awesome for an old fat man. I mean, considering that, I'm pretty close to death like most of us here, I want to be remembered, so I put all the best moments of my gaming life on the web for the whole world to see.
Excellent. So you like X-Wing. It's a fun game, right?
I don't like X-Wing at all. I love Star Wars Epic, which is the real movie experience. X-Wing, that's a cute card game with some toys to kind of mark where your players are. I'm not too fond of that anymore because it's been 5 years. But I love the movie version of the game, which is Star Wars Epic Play.
Which is kind of like a mini version of Armada in big scale.
Well, it's the grandiose version of Armada, I'd say.
All right. What way did you start playing X-Wing?
Oh my goodness. I was stumbling around looking for something to do with models on Amazon 5 years ago, and lo and behold, an X-Wing, Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, TIE Fighter, and Y-Wing all showed up. And I did a deeper search and saw that soon to be released was Millennium Falcon, Boba Fett Slave One.
Oh, you're fading out there.
The TIE Interceptor and the A-Wing.
All right, so you joined at Wave 1, close to Wave 2.
Right in the middle. Wave 2 was on the way to a release, and I just bought everything that was available currently at Amazon. This is before I even knew you could go to some of our favorite places like Miniatures Market, stuff. So
Well,
X-Wing and
you keep fading out there, man.
Keep fading out.
You gotta fading out.
Stay close to that
Oh,
microphone.
I'm sorry.
No pacing.
I'm in your ship, man. I mean,
now
did he watch you on the cable?
J-Bot, staple that microphone to his jacket, please.
Hold on, let me go find my nail gun.
I'll go get the arc welder fired up.
Now, I do have to admit that I started a little bit before you. I started in Wave 0.5. All we had were dials, templates, and dice, but we didn't have ships.
Wow. Well, man, you really got on board with the the foundation of the game, then, didn't you?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
I love the game, man, but there's only so many times you can play the 106. You know, I mean, I don't care what what kind of ship you have. It's the same type of game every time. You know.
Yep.
And after 5 years of that, man, you want a little change. You know, you want to do some casual stuff, as you guys say.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm all about the tournament scene, man.
I'll tell you what, brother, have my share. All
right. Well, I'm going to let you do the captain's question for tonight.
I'm going to try. Let me see if we can get that microphone reattached. I've got an interesting question. I think it's more of a as my first time on the ship, I want to evaluate the crew. So I need your moral standings and also your general viewpoints on this situation. What we're going to do in the future.
J-Bot's in trouble.
Yeah, we need to understand where
moral standing. What is that?
Yeah. We need to, exactly. We're testing to see what you have and have not. The question is real simple, and I appreciate being given the captain's question. That's an honor. Let me run this scenario by you. A member of Fantasy Flight Games approaches you.
You're fading.
Approaches you while he wanders off.
Hello, hey, is somebody up in the space dock?
Yeah. You're on the I think you're on the treadmill, man. It keeps pulling you away.
It's that Ewok. He keeps adjusting my seat because I'm so tall.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you were at a game store at an event and an FFG staff member came up and offered you a position to be a demo team member, and that meant that you would have to follow the meta real closely. You'd have to take the game a lot more seriously and keep up to date with everything, new releases, every little facet of play in a tournament setting. And part of your compensation for taking this on would be that you would receive future products for free. Okay, so that's your offer, an official offer, FFG staff. Or your other option would be, and you can ask the time to think about it, because the schedule. So then you go home and you think, well, if I keep doing what I do now, I can enjoy the game the way I like to play it.
You're kind of breaking up there. What's the second option?
The second option is buy a new microphone. And the second option would be, you kind of mull it over in your head. Would you rather just go ahead and play the way you're used to playing and not have the benefit of buying or have the benefit of buying what you want when you want and using the game the way you enjoy it rather than being totally official, totally by the meta,
Yeah,
and having
yeah.
to, you know.
Yeah, I think I can answer that pretty quick. I mean, I make enough money. I don't make a ton of money. I make enough money to handle, you know, the $250 that I drop on X-Wing stuff a year without. I'd rather not change my play style, you know, because I play the way I play and do the things I do in this game because they're fun, and effectively paying me $250 per year. It doesn't cut it for my fun, you know.
You also get a T-shirt.
Oh well, you didn't mention.
So people identify you as FFG Elite.
Shit.
They know you're the elite.
Well, in that case, I probably have to accept.
So you would take the $250 of goods and a T-shirt and the prestige of being an FFG Elite.
Prestige. It's big. It's very important to me. Prestige.
And going to all those tournaments.
Yeah.
And you got to explain why the TIE Punisher is a relevant, awesome ship in every game you play, because somebody will inevitably ask you.
Right.
Yeah, I just had someone texting me on Facebook saying, "Hey, how's my list for the store championship? 4 generic TIE Phantoms. How do you think that's gonna go?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love TIE Phantom. I love it. You should do it. You should totally do it. I'm all for it." So who's gonna go next, Joe Boss? Who do you want? You pick.
I'm on Biff.
Oh, okay. So the truth is going to come out.
You hiding back down the maintenance room.
Yeah. I just couldn't quite get behind the engine block quick enough, could I?
Nope.
So, truth be told, I actually applied to FFG's flight crew maybe 2 years ago, like when it first rolled out. I filled out the application, had a nice little write-up of all the demos I had done and the play groups I had started even at my office, and really, really talked myself up. But FFG, in their infinite wisdom, must have immediately passed that on to the circular file, because I never heard anything back from FFG. And it's probably, in the end, for the best, because I very much like demoing the game. It usually manifests itself in these massive missions that I think I'm doing a good job creating. They tend to be entertaining at the very least, and thoroughly enjoy working with new players, showing them the game, oftentimes in the classic 206 format. It's in some kind of a mission that I have ginned up, that I am teaching people how to play. So I would very much be in the camp of number 2. I want to keep on trucking with how I think the game can offer a lot of people. That's not to discount the tournament scene, because quite honestly, we need the tournament scene to keep all the stuff coming out. But I very much like the swim lane that I'm in right now with the whole thing. But yes, there was that dark period.
Biff, you like to play with those spaceships, don't you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You like to play with those spaceships, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're playing Dungeons and Dragons in space, aren't you?
A little bit of that, yes.
Yeah, he actually started playing his first role-playing game recently with J-Bot's Age of Rebellion game.
How dare you?
Yeah. Talk about cracking a shell. Exactly.
You actually went and chased the man. The man told you. He told you, no, you're not good enough. You're not wanted, Biff. But thanks anyway. Have a nice day. And then what did you do? You picked yourself up with your models and you turned it into a better game than is actually officially available for purchase right now at Amazon. You clicked your chin at him, brother.
Man, you're breaking up there at the end.
I told him he did good.
Yeah, he's actually. I love that. I love that Star Destroyer one. I can't wait to play that at Gen Con. That's like the one event I'm actually going to participate in.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really pumped about that one.
We talked about the possibility. I haven't even told Jay about this, but the possibility of later this year, Biff actually flying down here to Charlotte and being able to do the trench run with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be very cool. He can hear my complaining in person.
Yeah, and you can see my nudging in person.
You always complain. You're the comic relief.
It's gonna be Jim. I don't think that's an arc. Well, let me just check. Oops. Well, it's an arc now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I need to document all of his bumping abilities. I tried to put a couple of them in one of our playthrough videos, and people were like, "Man, that's amazing." I said, "Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet." Just when you think you got him cornered, the whole table shifts, and you're like, "Whoa, what happened there?"
Yeah, I'm good at pinball too.
When he brings those paper turds out, you kind of like blow on them a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you know you're about to get in front of one of them, Zara, you kind of blow on it so Jim forgets which way it was positioned.
Darn tootin'.
Yeah, he won't even let me talk about the templates anymore. Jim knows what I'm talking about. He won't let me go into it.
Yeah, I just roll my eye. All right, so who's next, J-Bot or myself? Who do you want us to answer your question?
I want the most important member of the crew to go last. So let's go, Jay. Let's go.
No, you want me to go next?
No, you're last.
Oh, I thought J-Bot was the most important.
Oh, I thought he was next too. I mean, obviously. So I have
gotta be last.
I have a couple of qualifier questions so that I understand before I make my decision. This is the only way to do this on any interview.
Wow.
We don't want you out here hanging with your butt in a swing. So go ahead.
So the first question I have is, how right do I have to be, depending on how much I follow? Well, up to date doesn't mean right. It just means up to date.
You know how our good friend Crabug is on his YouTube channel? I know y'all Crabug.
I don't think he knows who Crabug is.
Okay. Imagine a goofier version of Paul Heaver.
He doesn't know who Paul Heaver is.
Yeah, who's Paul Heaver?
Wow.
He's somebody important.
He used to be. Okay. How about Big Daddy, the meatball guy from Sling Pain? How about him? You know him?
Oh, Birdo. Yeah, I know Birdo.
Yeah, I know you know Birdo. Okay, you got to be like Birdo, but an asshole. Because Birdo is not an a-hole.
Wait, we're supposed to be kid-friendly here, man.
I might be able to handle that, though.
Yeah, you got to be Birdo, but really intense Birdo. Really intense, because you've got to be able to introduce the game to people the proper way with the up-to-date facts and what have you.
Okay, so here's my second question. All is there a limit on how much product I am able to procure from said company?
Well, knowing how the company is and the difficulties of shipping from China, I would say they would limit you to be able to play a good variety of 100.106 applicable lists. So you'd probably be able to get 4 or 5 of each ship.
You're fading, man. You're fading. The longer you talk, the worse it gets.
Okay, let me talk quick. You can buy 4 or 5 of each ship before they cut you off.
Well, that seems like they'd be limiting my resources since, as we all know, you might be able to put 5 of each ship into a list, and I want to play both of those meta lists against each other, so I need at least 10 of every ship in order to make this deal. So I'm going to say no. Sorry, FFG, you're not willing to commit yourself fully to the meta game that you guys are wanting me to promote. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to take my services to another company that's willing to commit all of their resources to my endeavors.
So you need 500 a year instead of 250.
Oh, 250 can't get me 4 ships, 4 of each ship. That will barely get 1 wave's worth of ships.
Well, wasn't it the captain that put that $250 parameter on it, though? Wasn't that the captain, I believe, did that?
Oh, no, that was that was Phil. Phil's saying he only spends 250, but see, Phil's not following the meta. I mean, if I need 4 of every ship, there's 4 ships in every wave thereabouts. So what's that, 60 per? That right there's $240 just to get my 4 of every ship and 1 wave. If they come out with 3 waves a year, what am I supposed to do?
Right. Yeah.
Can't keep up with the metagame, FFG. Sorry, man. Gotta send you on your way.
No. So for you, it's a matter of finances rather than morals.
No. Finance is the wrong way to put this. This is about commitment from the company. If the company is not willing to commit themselves to my endeavor and to my success, then how can I commit myself to their success?
Exactly. I wouldn't be a work slave either, man. You got to pay me.
So,
but no, it would take quite a bit to get me to commit to that much of a thing.
All right, and so you say it would take.
So far, everybody wants to remain casual and have fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can be bought. I'll be the first person to admit that I can be bought, but the price tends to be pretty high.
Right.
All right, and I'll give my answer because I've been bouncing between jobs and having car problems that made me miss my game night last week, but it put a big price tag to fix it. So my thing is, would it take all my time to do the tournaments and stuff, or would I have time to do my own thing?
Yeah, absolutely. All your free game time will be devoted to doing those demos and running events and whatnot. Yeah.
And it has to be 106 tournament meta.
It has to be their standard game that they're selling for their card game with some spaceship toys. Yeah.
If I had the ability to spend
stuff, I'm adding things to it now.
Half my time could do that, and the other half could do whatever I wanted. I'd be totally on board right now because I had to scrape to get my C-Rock yo-yo. I had to finally get that. Why do I have to say yo-yo after I hear C-Rock? It's just, anyways.
Keep doing it. I like it. I think it's
great.
great.
C-Rock yo-yo.
It's that reference, man. We all get it.
I just barely managed to scrape together. I had even like a bag of quarters that I pulled up the last few bucks to kind of get the bags of quarters, and
you're bankrupting
I
yourself.
might be selling plasma for Gen Con to get wave 11 stuff. But
oh yeah, got to be ready for it, Jim. Got to be ready.
Yeah, it's gonna be full MSRP, man.
That's right.
It's gonna hurt.
Man,
it is going to be full price there.
It is only $70, man. Where are you buying from?
No, I think the first time is like $50 at least for plasma. So that'll be good.
Yeah, he might be a little weak when he gets to Gen Con, but
he'll be able to carry
have a little cash to spend.
Plasma.
All right, so I would probably say no because I done the meta thing and I just don't care.
But that's what everybody plays, man. You're not in the hip crowd if you're not playing.
It is absolutely true. I'm 46 years old with kids, and I'm married. I have a minivan. I am well past hip, so I'm cool. I get it. Like I'm fine with that.
You're not even worthy of. You can't even go to the forums and have a discussion because you're so unworthy. I mean, how dare you go and talk about a stupid little Gen Con event playing for cheesy or whatever with your spaceship?
How is that different than any normal time?
It's no different at all. And this ship is no different at all. But yeah, rest of the world.
I should say we should move on because we got a lot of news tonight. So I'm going to kick through and say real fast, we did actually set up a Patreon page. We have their basic bare minimum. I had a lot of people come and say, look, you need to get your Patreon set up so at least we can start donating money. And we have not set up any rewards or anything, but we've had people wanting to give us money and wanting the method to do it. And J-Bot's been really twisting my arm to get this done because he wants that cash flow. So
right.
We've set up a Patreon account where
doesn't sound like me at all.
Yeah, there is no rewards at all, but if you want to donate money per month, we had requests, people saying, look, because sometimes certain podcasts do it, per episode. They might put out a bonus episode or something, and it kills the budget.
Because we might do those little bonus episodes, and I don't want to worry about people feeling like they're not getting a bang for their buck when we put out something small. So I think, per month donations are best for us.
And we got the idea of wanting to do more to make custom cards and stuff for certain reward levels.
Right.
But that is going to be after Gen Con because we just can't think about it. But people kept loving the narrative event in the audio drama and wanted to donate and give us money. So we jumped up. We'll have links to that, but we don't want to just say give us money. We had people asking us to do it, so we're not telling you to give us money or begging, but we're saying if you're one of those people who've been bugging us to give us money, we have now set up that corridor for you.
Yeah.
Captain Jim, can I make an observation real quick?
Sure.
Why don't we do a Shuttle Tydirium crew calendar?
Oh,
because that would be ugly.
Every month,
Next question.
Every month you get a page. You know what I mean? That's a benefit in addition to the content. Oh, every month you get that month's page.
You know, I might have been a looker in my 20s, but it's just not happening now. So.
Oh, I was thinking of the crew. I thought the crew would totally be on board. Might be a little hairy, but I mean, for the most part, I think the crew would be on board.
And they're okay with nudity.
Yeah,
Totally.
It's a PG calendar. It's a PG
The Ewok
calendar,
nudity, it's not. That's all good.
Right.
It's like
Right.
cats
I mean,
and dogs.
they're always naked. Right.
All right, but let's go through because I have to say that it has been frustrating moving to a twice a week schedule because I got so used to the once a week, and anytime the news hits, I have to wait to actually talk about it. We've had 2 news drops who've gone, twice weeks. We've got 2 news articles to go through, and so
brace yourself.
One of them going to be brief.
So we should go through with the first one, the one that's been out there the longest, and that's for the Auzituck. Am I saying that right, Phil? Because I'm sure to get corrected.
I don't know if there's a pronunciation for this.
Really?
There's no. I mean, really, if you wanted to, I don't know the transliteration pronunciation, but like the actual pronunciation goes something like.
See, that's better.
That's
that.
That's how you would actually say in Shriwalk, but
it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah.
More like Paul, but yeah.
All right. Well, this article came out June 9th. Defenders of Kashyyyk with the quote, "It's not wise to upset a Wookiee," quote from Han Solo. And this goes into the Auzituck gunship, which we already knew the stats. Phil, do you want to go ahead and tell us the stats for the gunship?
Yeah, sure. So it's got 3 primary attack in that wide 180-degree firing arc. It's got agility 1, hull 6, shield 3, focus action, reinforce action, and 2 crew, and that's pretty much it. Small ship.
Yeah. So the cheapest one, PS1, 24 points. It's got 1 more shield and 1 more hull it's got one more hit than a B-Wing. No target lock ability, lots of crew, no systems or cannons or torpedoes. But it's got the extra wide 180 auxiliary firing arc.
And reinforce.
And the reinforce.
That's
okay, let me also start off by saying when we talk about the stuff tonight, it's going to be difficult because we don't play the tournament meta, and there's different ways to view these news items. There's the how does it fit into the tournament scene and how does it fit into other games. To be honest, I am so far removed from tournament meta that a lot of the normal complaints and stuff you might hear from other places you might not even hear. Like, I can't even remember the last time I actually played with bigs on the table on either side. Like, I mean, it's been months since I've been seen on bigs on the table.
Yeah.
And that is just not the case for any tournament rebel list.
Right.
So when we talk about things, it might be a little different than,
Yeah, so we're probably not. Yeah, exactly. So the new things that we saw here were first the dial. So
yeah, it's
got green 1 straight and 1 banks. It's got 2 turn white, 2 bank white, 2 straight green, 3 turn white, 3 bank white, 3 straight green, 4 straight white, 5 straight red. So no flip around maneuvers. But pretty much a pretty open dial otherwise. It's got white turns.
You could say, besides anything that turns them around, like K turns, talon rolls, etc., it's got every move except the 1 hard turn.
Yeah.
But only one of them's red, and that's the 5 straights.
Yeah.
And the one speeds are green, and then the 2 and 3 straight are green. Everything else is white. So J-Bot, what do you think about this dial? I mean, particularly when you compare it to something, I don't know, like the Hawk.
Oh, well, I mean, comparing it to the Hawk's like basically comparing everything to the little scooter that people drive when they've lost their license because they drank too much. So it's
Let's not get personal now. Okay?
I wasn't talking about your specific scooter. I mean, that one's awesome, Biff. But I mean, the average person's scooter. I mean, to me, it's a good dial. What there's not much you can say. It's got a pretty standard. Ones are green. One of the twos and the three straights are green. I mean, it's pretty straight. I hate to say it's a standard dial, but it feels like a relatively standard dial with no K turns or anything weird like that. So
yeah, so you can't turn around, but remember, it's got that whole auxiliary firing arc. So basically 180. So the whole front freaking edge of the ship can shoot, and it's small base.
Yeah. So
how does this dial compare to like the Houndstooth, which is the other one? The 180-degree firing arc.
Houndstooth has that stop maneuver. Otherwise, it's probably fairly similar, although they fly differently because it's a large base, small base.
Yeah.
Well, pulling up the YV666, it has all the same maneuvers except the 5-speed forward, except a 2-hard turn is red.
Yeah.
So 2-hard turn red on the YV666, and it's white on the small base Kashyyyk gunship.
So what do you think of this style, Joe?
Joe, the Auzituck is a schmuck.
Okay.
It's the worst ship they've ever made.
Why?
Because, man, I mean, first of all, it's been a horrible movie.
Movie?
Wait, it was in a TV show.
It was in Rebels.
Like I said,
one
man.
episode.
I like Rebels.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like that one episode with the chocolate Wookiees looking like caramel melting or whatever. It was horrible. I don't like anything about this ship. I'd rather have 10 Hawks in a scum list than one stupid Azushmuck in a rebel list.
So, well, what do you think of the dial? What's your thoughts on the dial?
I think everything about the ship is horrible, man. I don't care if it can go 5 if it's a red.
So you're more of a glass half empty kind of guy on this ship.
There's no glass on the table with me on this ship, my friend. I'm going to buy one of the stupid things because I get all of them. But for goodness gracious sakes.
All right.
I will say this, though. Let me say this. I've had a little joke. Let me say this. It's a good ship for what they tried to do, but they didn't need to do what they tried.
Yeah. All right.
You got B-Wings, man.
All right.
You've got the B-Wing that does everything.
Well, except the crew. This thing's kind of like a stripped down B-Wing. So if you compare the two, B-Wings have more gear and equipment you can load up on it, and they can do all the target locks and stuff. And this thing is like a stripped down basic B-Wing that can't even freaking target lock and stuff, but it's got a whole bunch of people on it.
Yeah, but Jimbo, nobody even plays the B-Wing anymore except for us.
Well, yeah, but missions and stuff, and that's what we're talking about, is stuff for missions and things.
Right.
So I would say that if this thing – so I think this dial is a little on the crazy side, a little on the good side, and I think
it's too good.
If this thing had a one sharp turn – if it had a one sharp turn, it would be so broken.
Yeah, it would be really hard to get behind if it had a sharp turn.
I'm so glad that they didn't give it a one sharp turn at least. Like the dial is I think, very good, but I'm at least thankful that it's not stupid good.
Well, I mean, do you feel like that thing could outmaneuver a B-Wing as much as the dial suggests?
I think it's possible. One of the things about this ship is it can do almost anything, so you're not even sure really where it's going to be.
Right.
So if it needs to bug out or kind of be all janky and kind of get weird places or, try to kind of mess with you, it can do that, though, because it can go almost anywhere on the board. The only problem is we'll actually have a shot and all that, and that's the part that really matters. I think that 180 arc with this particular dial is pretty darn good. You can always throw in a vectored thrusters on it for only 2 points and be able to get the barrel roll in. And I think I think that's a pretty crazy good dial with that 180 arc. Is my overall.
It's not a bad dial. The lack of a flip round hurts it, but I think for what they're going for, it's pretty good. So what about the other new things that we saw here? So other new things we saw were the unique pilots. So maybe start with Lowrick.
If you want to do with Lowrick.
Lowrick. I hope I'm even remotely close to pronouncing that one.
You're not. None of us are, but we can roll with it.
All right. So he's a pilot skill 5, and he's coming in at 28 points, and he has a EPT slot in addition to his special ability, which reads: when another friendly ship at range 1 is defending, you may spend 1 reinforced token. If you do, the defender adds 1 evade result. It's a pretty good way of offering up, I suppose, your reinforcement to a buddy in close proximity. And it's not a add a die roll. It's a flat out add an evade result to their defensive roll, which is pretty slick.
What do you guys think of this?
I think it's a good character, man, but it's just on a really bad ship,
Yeah, I think it's a fluffy with the rebel theme of buddies helping each other out type deal of the synergy theme that rebels seem to have.
It's almost like they tried to soup up a U-wing.
Well, okay, like when I look at it, I think one of the things about like tournament games has a few high potency ships.
Right.
And when you can do things like add 1 evade, that makes a huge difference when you only got like 2 or 3 attacks that turn. But if you aren't playing that way, getting rid of your reinforced token is kind of a big deal.
It can be if you're going to be shot at, but there may be times that you're not going to be shot at. Like maybe they've already passed up the opportunity to shoot at that ship, or maybe it's not in anybody's arc, and you took the reinforce before that whole situation resolved. So it's a nice option to have.
And of course it works with bigs.
Right.
And it can be quite silly with bigs.
Yeah, you can make a bit of a super bigs with this.
I have to say that one of the things about this whole ship in general is it really hurts ships with 2 attack die. And I don't even hear too many people on other podcasts because they're like, well, those are already gone from the game, from the tournament scene. So, their basic quote is it puts, it only affects ships that aren't even competitive in the game anyways. But then I had Cuban Boy ask me, hey, what do I think about this ship in Here's the Tree Cluster? And my initial thoughts are, right, it's going to be way broken because you put reinforced against a bunch of TIE fighters.
You put this thing out
that's
front.
Just horribly broken.
You can't use this.
Yeah.
The thing is, man, it's nice that they, I was being a little bit too rude about this ship, but honestly, for the way we like to play, it's a cool ship. I just don't think anybody else is going to appreciate it unless they're casual or epic players.
You see, I'm almost thinking it's OP for casual because that reinforced token for all those ships with 2 attack die is going to be ugly. Like you got your Z95s, you've got your TIE fighters, you've got your non-heavy Sikhs.
Absolutely, yep.
You've got all these things, and that reinforced token is going to suck. I mean,
but I think there's something that, I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's missing a target lock. I know it doesn't have munitions or anything like that, but there's no way for it to get one. And target lock is a relatively powerful ability when you look at it, because it's like almost every rebel ship has it, doesn't it? Or is there one that I can't think of that doesn't? It's
attack shuttle. Maybe?
It's like, hey, it just
weird. The attack shuttle.
Yeah, the attack shuttle.
So it's like, hey, I can target lock, and then in a sense forget about that target lock for a while. But this is a ship with a 180-degree arc that could make really good use of a target lock that it's picked up a turn before when it didn't have a shot, because in a way 50% of the time you're probably going to have a shot once you get into into range of things. And
they do have the EPT slot that can, for the named guys, that can give you dice modifications like either expertise for a ton of points, predator, or even something like lone wolf.
Right. So, I mean, for example, any one of these guys with an EPT, if you put expertise on it, you're never going to use the focus. You're always going to use reinforce, right? I mean, that's the assumption. You're never going to use your target lock. You're always going to use reinforce. But for me, it's like, I always like to have that target lock for when you can take it when you don't need to reinforce, and then you always have that target lock floating there as kind of a
Jonathan,
a safety valve.
You could just spend the 2 points and add a targeting computer.
Yeah.
If you really want that targeting lock,
what is that?
You can add a. There's a modification.
Targeting
There's
computer,
a modification.
Isn't that a system slot?
No, it is a modification.
I thought that was a system, the targeting system.
Fire control system that once you shoot at somebody gives you a free target lock is a system, but there's still the modification that almost nobody ever gets because it only works on, say, like Imperial things. They don't have target locks.
Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking.
2-point modification.
Yeah.
And you could also do something repositioning, like at a vectored thrusters or something.
There's usually a better way to spend 2 points, but
yeah,
right.
Really
so I was thinking it was a system slot. I'm sorry, I was thinking
that's a better way to spend 24 points.
Now, do we want to go into the other name guy? Just kind of even talk about all these at once.
So the thing, let me touch on one thing with Lorik. I was thinking that he might be a bit more, I'll call it effective in the epic play where you're starting off with 300 points. So for basically 1/10 of your operating cost, you now have a guy that's clearly designed to be support, but has some flexibility with some modifications in the 180-degree firing arc to where he's kind of hanging back, helping out any of your really low agility or maybe your epic ships, period, with that evade token. While still, if somebody happens to wander in his firing arc, he's got 3 attack dice. And so...
Wander in that giant, huge firing arc.
Yeah, like that's going to be hard to do.
See, I don't know so much of his thing as if Lorik's particular ability is great for Epic, because when you've got Epic, you've got so many ships firing, and the one thing about Lorik is you get rid of that reinforced token to add 1 evade, and that's much more powerful when you've got a few ships as opposed to a lot of ships.
Yeah, but the idea in Epic would be you'd want 3 of these things, you know? You would just have one of these in an Epic game.
Yeah, but whole Lorik's ability to add the evade for like 1 guy to get rid of his reinforce. In Epic, I don't know if it's that big a deal. Like maybe if your capital ship is really that hurting and you just that one thing might save its bacon, but most likely it's, in Epic games, it's not one hit that's going to save a ship most of the time.
Yeah, you're right.
Do we want to go into Wolfaro? Makes me think of like the evil Mario guys,
Sure.
Yeah,
so
let's keep moving.
Wolfaro's text, he's a pilot skill 7, or she, I think, right?
No idea.
Who knows?
We
When attacking,
can't tell.
it's hard for us to tell, yeah. When attacking, if you have no shields and at least 1 damage card assigned to you, roll 1 additional attack dice, so she gets more powerful. She gets pissed off.
Wait, before we get into this, I just had a thought. What if they in episode 8 we find out that Chewbacca is actually a female?
All hell breaks loose.
I will flip the screen off the wall.
All right. So when attacking, if you have no shields and at least 1 damage card assigned to you, roll 1 additional attack die. That's pretty good. And PS7.
Yeah, you could, instead of taking the reinforce for the first couple rounds, maybe you don't want to take reinforce. Take a few hits, put this ship in more exposed positions than you might otherwise, and sort of exploit this ability, because people are not going to want to have this ability trigger. So she might have a bit of a reverse Biggs effect, where people don't want to shoot you.
Yeah. Now, I personally think Wolfaro is the really awesome one of these two. Not counting the whole Lorik Biggs tournament meta stuff, because I just don't care about that. But considering the way we play the game, Wolfaro. I was thinking of a build that had Wolfaro, Lone Wolf. So basically, anytime you attack or you defend, you get to reroll 1 die. Go for C3PO, and also put Finn on.
Huh.
So let me even pull up Finn just because I don't even know off the top of my head, but I know it. Hang on, I don't know the text off the top of my head. So Finn is 5 points, but when attacking with primary weapon or defending, if the enemy ship is inside your firing arc, you may add 1 blank result. And if you add 1 blank result, you can then re-roll with Lone Wolf.
Yep.
You could do things like, let's say with C3PO, say, knowing you're going to get a green one added in for free, a blank one, say, well, I'm going to get 1, and you're going to get 1 reroll on your 2 green dice. The chances are you'll probably get 1 of those, putting it to like 2 evade, and let's say if reinforce going on, you have 3 evade that turn.
Yeah, I think you have a good point. Using C3PO with this could be pretty good, especially when combined with reinforce.
And with Lone Wolf and Finn. It's like Finn adding the extra one in.
Yeah, does Finn doesn't work with defense dice, does he?
Yes.
Oh, he does. Ah, okay.
Yeah, but she has that extra attack dice, so kind of getting a little bit of a boost on both fronts, I think.
Yeah, so when attack with a primary weapon or defending, you can do that. And so Finn will add in the free blank, and you'll get the Lone Wolf reroll. So let's say the thing is, I don't even say you try to get damaged. You just play like normal and go for the end game. And the end game, you're going to be really powerful. Let's say you'll be rolling 4 dice, and they'll be throwing in the free blank that you'll get to reroll.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's going to cost you, but let's see how much that'd be like.
The power for you'll have that not wanting to shoot at it in the early game because you'll make it too powerful, and then you'll have the extra defense where you could potentially get like 3 evade for an attack. It's a bit silly, and then you've got the 4 or 5 dice, basically 5 dice attack.
Yeah.
How do you feel about people targeting this ship as compared to say Quick Draw and a Special Forces TIE fighter, because she's kind of that way too. If you start messing her up, she gets mad, gets better at shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a similar type ability.
Which one's going to be a more sought after target, do you think, in say the first 2 turns?
Well, I think part of it comes down to how you fly it. Try to fly this one on the edge because you've got Lone Wolf. You don't really want to be close to others. Play a bit conservative so that they can't really gun hard for Wolfaro.
That's a good point, Jimbo.
So if you play smart, they might be able to completely snooker you and bypass the rest of your ships and gun hard and get you because there are good players and situations. But the idea overall is to keep her conservative. More of like a second weight.
We were just talking about the dial, man, and we all kind of danced around it. But now, deeper into our analysis, man, that dial would really help you to evade some of that stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Using it the way we just talked about here, that's a sneaky little roundhouser there, man.
Even a 5 straight red. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and with the Lone Wolf, like you said, man, that's making the ship seem more better even to me.
Yeah. I think that this ship though has potential to really kind of break things.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me, is that it's the idea to try to keep it like a simple and pare down, but you start adding in 2 crew, the elite pilot and the reinforce action, and it kind of opens up all sorts of levels of abuse. You could add in recon specialist and Jan Arzo, who adds turns 1 evade or 1 focus to an evade.
Mm-hmm.
And which is a cheaper version where you can start getting your focus and evade every round. You could also add in rage and inspiring recruit, where you're getting rerolls and a focus, and then your inspiring recruit gets rid of one of the gets rid of the 2 stress in 1 turn.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a whole bunch of these crazy little combos, depending on how many points and which one you want to do, and all sorts of stuff that makes this ship really kind of potent. And if you're fighting against, two attack die ships, that's going to be brutal. And yeah, like TIE fighters will have to break formation and actually be a real TIE swarm, not a TIE formation, which a lot of people are kind of loath to do. But I don't care if you got Hell Runner, if you've got 7 TIE fighters shooting at the front of a bunch of these things, you're going to have to break it up and come at them from different sides because the reinforce will only work on one side.
Right.
Now, I had one question about the reinforce because someone said something in the forums and I wasn't sure. Now, it is the front half versus the back half, like 180 versus 180, not like the front firing arc. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You a front, a fore or an aft section, and that would apply even to a small ship because that's just the way the rule is.
Because someone said front firing arc, and I didn't have time to really double check my stuff, and I was like, maybe I'm wrong because I am wrong.
No, you're not. You're right, man. It's the fore and aft.
I took it as it talks about firing arcs, so I took it to be the 90-degree wedge, not the 180.
So it is the front firing arc.
If they play it the way the reinforce action works, it should be the 180. It should be.
So if you look at the reinforce action card, the reference card, and the first bullet is if the fore side of the token is up and the attacker is inside the defender's firing arc, add 1 evade.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at the
defender's
card.
firing
arc.
So I take that to be the 90-degree wedge.
Did they offer that back then?
But it isn't. But this is the difference between firing arc and primary firing arc, because firing arc on the fire spray is both of them. Like it's the front and back. Right. The primary is the forward facing one. I think that's where they're getting at. So if they don't put the word primary in there, I think they mean the full 180.
Yeah,
okay.
Works in all the arc. Yeah.
Okay.
Firing arc means firing arc.
Yeah, the real question here isn't so much with this one, but it's with the Sea Rock, because that one doesn't have a 180 firing arc. So where do you draw the line at?
Well,
it's the short edge to the dot.
The line.
Well, no, right. That's what I meant. So it's like, wait a minute. So technically, if I put the reinforced on the back half, I'm actually protecting more of the ship than if I put it on the front.
You have to put it on the tip of that firing, the little firing arc arrow shape at the tip, which is more or less the middle of the base. That's where you would put it. So it's still technically the 180 because in Epic anyway, unless they've errata something in a fact, it's always the fore or the aft, front or back, and usually cut right down the front half.
Short burst, man. Short controlled bursts.
It's usually in the middle of the ship in Epic.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It normally follows the blue line, but they forgot the blue line on the Sea Rock. So that's where they ran into their issue.
That's hilarious. But it should be the tip of the arc, the point, the arrow shape. It's supposed to be the tip is where that blue line would be.
Yeah.
Because they messed up the base. Let's just face
it. I'm even thinking, what about R2-D2 crew at the end of the end phase? If you have no shields, you may recover 1 shield and roll 1 attack die. On a hit, you flip over face down damage. Now I'm thinking maybe not. What's her name?
Wolfaro.
Yeah, Wolfaro. Maybe not her, but any of the other ones. R2-D2 crew is an awesome ship. They're like awesome crew on any of these guys. With the reinforce action, they'll prevent further damage and reinforce shields. That's crazy good.
It's just funny pitching R2-D2 on a bunch of with a bunch of Wookiees around.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Do we?
I feel like they tried to make a B-wing U-wing hybrid here, man. With this whole ship, it's a B-wing it's a B-wing U-wing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of feels like that.
But like a low-tech version.
Yeah.
And that's why I was giving it so much grief. I'm like, well, I already love my B-wings, and I already love my U-wings. Why do I need this ship?
Well, because it's different flavor. It's a Wookiee thing, and it's all about the fluff. So it's more, I take it as, look, if you want to have Wookiees involved, you want to make some sort of missions with Wookiees and stuff, now you can do it. And if you don't want to, you want to do it pure rebel, military structure, then you ignore this. I just say more options is better, but I'm just worried about the power level of it. But J-Bot, we haven't heard a lot from you. So what are your thoughts on this particular ship?
Yeah, J-Bot.
I think it's interesting. I just think it's expensive, if that makes sense. It feels like a very pricey ship for play. I mean, at near 30 points, I guess 28, 30 points for those guys that we've just been discussing. It seems very expensive because you haven't even loaded anything on them yet.
Right.
So I feel like I can get a lot more value out of a B-Wing, for example, if I just bought the stock version of one.
Well, here's a question, because here's one thing I'm thinking of, because we play with generics and all that, and we don't do the tournaments, and so I often play with more generics than I do actually name dudes. But if you look at this thing compared to, say, like a B-Wing, so you look at the Auzituck, the PS1 Kashyyyk Defender, 24 points, and you basically are very similar to a B-Wing, but you got probably slightly better or slightly different dial, and you've got one more hit, and you've got the reinforce action, but less upgradability. Do you think if you compare this, the PS1 generic, to like a B-Wing, which would you say is better?
Well, I think this has a much better dial than a B-Wing. So
Yeah.
that's if I were a B-Wing, like massive fan of B-Wings, I'd be a little mad because this does have a much better dial in my opinion than a B-Wing.
Well, no flip.
Yeah, no flip, but otherwise I think it's much better because if you haven't flown a B-Wing in a long time, you probably don't realize just how bad that dial actually is. And I've flown them recently, and I was like, I thought this was so much better than it was. And once you start like looking for that one maneuver, you're like, oh God, it doesn't have that one either. Oh geez, it doesn't have this one either. I'll go back to my old gripe is a B-Wing's an old ship, so it has an old ship dial. So the dial has a lot of space on it. And the new ships don't have that much excess space on there for their maneuvers. So, yes, this doesn't have a flip, but it can run, if that makes sense. So, like, oh no, I'm in a bad position. I'm just going to cut and run, and go straight for and not stress the ship, or go straight 5 and stress it. But they can get out of dodge really fast versus kind of the idea of knife fighting that you might think of with the B-Wing.
But what about like other aspects, like not having the target lock, but having the reinforce? Like when you take everything in consideration, not just the dial, how does this thing? It's a couple more points than the B-Wing, but do you consider it to be, if you had to pick for a list, would you pick a B-Wing or would you pick this thing?
Well, I feel like with this, I'd have to build my list around it. Versus the B-Wing, I can kind of tailor to a list is the way I look at this. Because these very much feel like one-trick ponies. You're not really going to do much more than be a pure support ship that'll take shots at stuff whenever it gets a chance.
But I don't know about that.
You can be either with a B-Wing.
Because what if you took this as a ship, like the PS1 guy, they got the 180 firing arcs. They do let's say they do a focus action if they're expected to be offensive, and the other if they're expecting to be defensive. That's still a target lock and a focus is still about the same hit ratio, and you've got a pretty wide firing arc, bigger than a B-Wing, and you can most likely get a shot at something, and you got your focus token to redo the dice. I wouldn't say that because you don't even have to deal with a crew. Let's say you just go straight up, like don't even get a crew. Don't even, buy no modification or anything. Just straight up B-Wing versus Auzituck in a gunfight,
I think the B-Wing will blow its ass up.
I think the B-Wing beats it in a straight gunfight, to be honest with you. Because the B-Wing can outmaneuver it at close range. And once it's behind this, it can never run away because it can never turn. So it can't turn to reface.
So you don't think with like a 180 firing arc's going to save it?
No, because once it's behind it, the 180 does nothing. So this has no ability to reposition as a stock ship. It's not an offensive ship. It's a ship that can fire defensively and fire to great effect defensively, but ultimately it's a defensive ship.
I think it depends a lot.
I don't see it as an offensive output.
I think it depends a lot on the angle of approach. What ship would have the advantage? I think if you flew the Auzituck, I think you'd have to be more careful about the way you flew the Auzituck. But you know that 180. Have you guys flown a 180-degree arc ship before?
Absolutely, man.
I've flown against them. I've never flown the Houndstooth, but I've flown against them quite a bit.
They're not bad. That 180-degree arc covers a lot of space. You know, if you consistently turn with it, sometimes it can be hard to stay out of the arc.
Just food for thought. I beat a 3 Houndstooth list with my 2 Hawks and E-Wings. So just food for thought. So yes, they have a 180, but all it takes is someone who can outmaneuver them, and they're screwed because they can't outmaneuver back. If that makes sense. Because the 180 ships, they purposely take away that ability to kind of reconfigure yourself. Like, oh crap, he got behind me. Now what do I do? You just die. I'm sorry. Like there's nothing you can do once the guy gets on your tail. And with a B-Wing, it's like, yes, it's all about the angle of approach, but the B-Wing can do that 2K turn. So it can be basically right on top of you and be right behind you on the next turn.
I mean, if you turn left and they turn right, then you could probably, you know, like if you
Right,
came up next to an asteroid and you decided to fly over the asteroid instead of in the other direction, you could probably shake a B-wing off your tail. But you know, that's very theoretical.
It's all situational, which is what the game of X-Wing is about.
Right, but for me, it's when you think of it like this, it's the gunship is going to be running. Like in that instance between a B-wing and a gunship, the gunship is going to be running. It's not going to be, oh look, I can go on the offensive. It's going to be, oh look, I happen to get a shot on it. Whereas the B-wing is going to be the aggressor in that situation. And with all the tools that a B-wing can have at its disposal, from the torpedoes to cannons and things like that, like it can really lay into one of these ships pretty quick. So for me, I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad ship. It does have some great things. I just think it's very much a one-trick pony, and that it's a very defensive ship that can put offensive output out there, just not.
So you'd rather rather have the B-wing.
I don't really fly. I don't expect to ever fly this one. So, because I don't fly B-wings very much, but that's like, I think the ship is cool looking as a design for a ship, but other than that, like it's not something I actually want to fly. So
meaning
it looks like a helicopter.
Looks like one of them Russian helicopters.
Yep.
A Hind.
It looks like a gunship.
Hind.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Red Dawn meets Teen Wolf.
Yeah. All right, Biff, do you have any closing thoughts on this particular ship?
Just that whole conversation. The one thing that sticks in my mind is the dial of this new ship. In that it's only got the one red maneuver, which was identified earlier, but it's when I get into that little dogfight with let's say the B-wing, even if he gets behind my tail, I've got, you know, I could do a 5 to try and extend, and now I got the stress token. And if now I still have this massive palette of what I could do if I'm not going to be dependent on trying to get an action the next round. So I view that as a huge wild card. It's going to be hard to quote unquote stay on his tail. And you combine that with a 180-degree firing arc, it'd be a very interesting one-on-one scenario to see played out 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
Because that dial just really opens up a lot of stuff, a lot of ability to escape, and swing yourself around, because you don't have the flip, but it could buy you a little bit of time to swing around, or you just happen to catch them.
Yeah, I think if you fly squirrely, you could pull it off pretty well.
Yeah, but Biff, man, when you do that 5 to get away and squirrel, you're putting it in the sweet spot for me with that heavy laser cannon on the B-wing.
Well, that's the thing. If we're talking about equal for equal points, and sometimes I'm thinking not even necessarily against the B-wing, but if you're comparing it, like in my list, I want to take a B-wing or I want to take an Auzituck, you know, which would you rather take in your list?
If I was doing a flavored battle, I would take the Auzituck for flavor, but otherwise, unless it was a cool scenario, I probably wouldn't play it much either, man. It just seems like a lot of effort for some fun hijinks, but ultimately, man, I can do the same thing with my B wings and my U wings, and I just rather play those.
I think if you take the named people and you load out the ship, you can build a jinkier ship, than the B wing or U wing. But I think if you're talking about just the basics, I don't know. I think they're on par. I think they're about different. I think it all depends on how you fly and what you're flying in. It depends on the scenario. And I think that there's not one clear winner, I guess I'm saying.
Right.
All right. But we could go ahead and move on to the next bit of news. Oh, wait, we actually have the last card. I'm sorry.
No,
Phil, you want to tell us about the last card?
Okay, let's do the last card fast. So selflessness is the last card. It's unique, dotted, small ship only, rebel only. When a friendly ship at range 1 is hit by an attack, you may discard this card to suffer all uncancelled hit results instead of the target ship. So you take the hit. So this could combine well. I think people were a bit worried about this when combined with Biggs because it can extend Biggs' lifespan. In general, it can expand the lifespan of a lot of ships. It's a 1 point EPT, so fairly cheap. I think this actually could be quite good. I think there's a reason that this is dotted.
I agree, but I have a question. This is a dumb question. If I'm running a reinforced token, does that stop a portion of that too?
No, I think that is it's for attacks.
Reinforce adds a result to your defensive roll.
Yeah. They wouldn't help you here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally for defensive, man.
Yeah.
Which actually makes it good versus like a TLT. It'd be slightly better if you had like either the Lone Wolf or at least that one reroll. But if you can get like two evades against a TLT every round, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, I don't know. Work against both shots.
What about putting this in a? We've kind of put this in its own Wookiee blanket, and I think it would be good with other supporting ships.
What, selflessness or?
Imagine like Y-wings flying with this thing, man.
With selflessness?
Well, yeah. Honestly, because they would be more survivable, and then they could get their torpedoes out more, like Horton Slam.
Yeah.
If you kept Horton Slam alive longer with this ability with Auzituck, man, that'd be great because he can re-roll. He's going to almost always deliver his payload in good effect.
We're losing you a little bit, but yeah, I think I get your idea. I mean, it's good for keeping those fragile ships alive. Because Y-wings they would. I mean, they'll take a big punch, and they'll probably last like 2 rounds and go, just because they don't have enough defense dice, no defensive abilities. But having defensive ships to help them out is always good, and that goes for a lot of rebel ships. That's why Biggs is so good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we should move on before we take up the whole episode.
Show on this.
Yeah.
The one thing is, what if it wasn't Rebel only? You could put it on like Imperial Aces.
You could put it on a Jumpmaster.
Oh, well, I was even thinking like a Black Squad. You can hang out with Suntir Fel and just be like, "Oh, you nailed Suntir Fel finally." His squaddy dies.
So Jim wants some evil Wookiees in the game.
Yeah. All right, so shall we move on to something actually, because this other news article is one that interests me a lot more. Do we want
a question for Phil real quick, because there is the possibility that this could land at Gen Con. Is there anything on this ship that we think might fall into the banned list for the narrative?
Well, the ship is going to fall into the banned list because there's no time to really play test it at this point.
Everything from Wave 11's in the ban list.
Okay.
So there's a simple answer for you. I think after Gen Con, I'll reassess for everything on like a rolling basis. Probably every 6 months or so, I'll probably update the ban list. But for now, Wave 11 is off limits. Just to be safe.
Yeah. All right, so we have the next news item, Cry Havoc, a preview of the Skurg H6 bomber. I keep calling it H6. No one knows what I mean. Like, oh, the H6 because it's easier to like type on my phone. And people are like, the what? The Skurg.
And then you always got to question yourself. Did I spell that correctly?
And I was wrong because I was always using a K. So the answer is not at all. And I know I'm not.
I'm gonna tell you what, guys. I love this ship.
Was it in a good movie?
I don't care. It's a good looking ship, man.
Yeah, I do like this one. I do like this one. Looks of this one over the.
Hey, you're talking to a guy who's building a Hut cartel, baby. It don't have to be in a movie.
Cool. So let's do a quick stat review. So it's got 3 attack, 1 defense, 5 hull, 5 shield, focus, target lock, barrel roll. This thing can barrel roll. You know, it may not look like it, but you know, it looks like a big flying block to me. But it can barrel roll according to FFG. It's got an upgrade bar with everything: turret, torpedo, missile, crew, and 2 bombs. The base model is 24 points at pilot skill 1. Small base ship. So, this thing has so many options because of that upgrade bar, and there's a pilot skill 3 pilot that has pilot talent. So, you know, you gotta like worry about that a little bit.
Cad Bane.
Yeah, Cad Bane is in this, so...
Yeah, well, let's not get too far into that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
And all the things that we do know, there's the title.
Yeah. So the title was, I think we saw that last time, but your upgrade bar gets the system slot and the salvaged astromech slot and loses the crew upgrade icon.
Because it needed more.
So there's even more.
It has to be a unique upgrade. So all the people on the internet going, "Oh my God, it's going to have a green talon roll." No, it can't because the salvage astromech is a non-unique and you can't use it. You have to use a unique.
Yeah.
So those people, you can just calm down now.
Yeah, and I think we should actually look at the other upgrades that came out with this because they at least the bomblet generator first before we talk about the rest of the ship because it's pretty.
Well, I'll have to say that I had a very hard time thinking about the ship because everything that came out made me think about the TIE Punisher.
True.
I thought of all these really cool things about TIE Punishers, but I had a very hard time considering just this particular ship on its own merit. So go ahead, go for it, Phil, because I know we're on a roll and it's getting late.
Yeah. So the bomblet generator is a unique dotted card. It reads, when you reveal or maneuver, you may drop 1 bomblet token. The token detonates at the end of the activation phase. It takes up 2 bomb slots, and it's 3 points. The bomblet tokens are, you know, those small size bomb tokens, same size like a proton bomb or a seismic charge. And
your standard bomb size.
Yeah, sure. And each ship at range 1, when it detonates, each ship at range 1 rolls 2 attack dice. And they suffer the hits and crits. So it's, you know, kind of like running over a cluster mine, but it has an area effect. And you can just drop those forever. Every turn you can drop 1. So that's pretty huge. Only a few ships can take it. I think K-Wing, Skurg, Fire Sprays with either Andrasta title or Cad Bane. Quad jumpers can actually take this if they have Cad Bane. Also, we'll touch on Cad Bane in a second. And also Punishers. Punishers have 2 bomb slots. Sadly, the TIE Bomber cannot use this.
Well, I'll just go ahead and say right now, with all the latest stuff going on, the TIE Bomber is your Imperial Ordnance ship. The TIE Punisher is going to be your Imperial Bomb ship.
Yeah.
Yes, it is ironic that the TIE Bomber doesn't really do bombs well, but that's just the way it is. So we'll move forward with that concept.
Yeah, sad face. Let's look at the bomblet generators. It's really huge. I think that it's going to be most dangerous on ships that have good turret weapons, because they can sort of fly away from you and force you to chase them. And if it's pooping out bombs every turn, you know, that's just making your job all that harder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, seriously, if a turret ship is, if you're fighting a turret ship, you have to, fly towards it, right? You can't. It's harder to get a head-on angle of attack because the turret ship doesn't need to fly at you. It can always fly away from you.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get. I think there's a good chance that we'll see like Bomba Generator on like ships like Miranda Doney. With because it also works well with Sabine Wren crew.
Well, I think with Miranda, she's best known, at least in major meta circles, as like an ace hunter, where she wants to go and drop your Connor nets and stuff on your aces.
Sure.
And hit them. And with this, you can't. This is not an ace hunting tool in particular because you reveal it, before you do your maneuver, and it blows up after everybody's done moving.
Yeah, but I'm saying in more of a regen heavy role where you Rana is constantly running away from you and you have to chase her down, and then she can wear you down with a Bomba Generator and Twin Laser Turret. Meanwhile, she's regenerating every turn and doing like automatic damage with Sabine Wren and whatever bomb damage you have. I think that something like that could be very dangerous. In general, this is, it's a pretty crazy little card.
Yeah. I think of Bomba Generator and I think of Death Rain. It was Death Fire. Dang it, no, Death Rain, the TIE Punisher.
You got it. Yes, Death Rain, man. Go for it.
Death Rain. So you can, anytime you pretty much drop a bomb, here I'm going to pull it up, Death Rain. When dropping a bomb, you may place the front guides of your ship, so drop it out the front, or you can drop it out the back, and then after you drop, you can do a free barrel roll action. So Death Rain can pop it out the front or the back, then do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
And you can even give it like advanced sensors. So you could do a boost and then drop it out the front of the back and then get a barrel roll and then do your move.
Yeah, but Jim, you're forgetting something. The Imperial faction was totally overlooked in this wave.
Oh, yeah. Oh, everybody. The Imperial faction's weak and everybody's ignoring the Imperial faction, even though there's like a ton of cards for the TIE Punisher. Oh, the Imperial faction's being completely ignored, even though there's TIE Aggressor with TLT. Nothing's ever done for the Imperial faction. Yeah.
This stupid TIE Aggressor sucks.
Which I strongly disagree with, but yeah. So I think like a type Death Rain with Bomba Generator, every turn being able to do that is just going to be crazy. And because it's 2 points or is it 3 points, and you can have unlimited bombs every round that you want.
Yeah,
that's going to be really good in the TIE Punisher, and it's going to be good on any generic TIE Punisher too.
Jimbo, imagine a couple TIE Punishers with 3 or 4 of those wonderful aggressors covering it with their little turret weapons. That's glorious in my book, man.
Yeah. I'll buy that for $1.
I got to have that on the table, baby.
Yeah. All right, so that and Bomba Generator.
Yeah.
And we didn't even cover the special pilots because
no, you can go back to pilots now, I guess.
Particularly Soul Sixes, who I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Oh, let's also talk about the dial briefly here too. So
yeah,
it's got 1, 2, 3 straight green. The 2 banks and the 2 straights are green. It doesn't have a 1 turn. It has the white 1 bank. The only white turn is the 2 turn. And as it's a pretty full dial, so it has like all the 3 maneuvers, but the 3 turn is red. It also has 3 Talon rolls. Also red, of course, and a white 4 and a 5 red. So pretty, this is a pretty good dial. At least I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talon rolls
I have
nice.
to admit that at first I was getting the Auzituck and this dial confused.
Oh,
and if this thing had the dial of the Auzituck, it'd be freaking insane.
You think this has a worse dial than the Auzituck?
I think this is a better dial.
It's definitely a better
Far
dial.
better.
If the Auzituck had this dial, the Auzituck would be broken, frankly.
Yeah, the only difference between this and the Auzituck, like just for maneuvers, is that the red 3 sharps are there, and the Auzituck has them, but they're white. And then this has additional the Talon rolls at the Talon roll.
Is huge.
It has those on top of it, which is, I guess I can go back to, hey, look, their lowest pilot skill guy for this is a pilot skill 1, and he's also 24 points. Jim, which of these would you rather have, an Auzituck gunship or their pilot skill 1 guy on this?
Oh, actually, I want to get into that whole the PS1 for this guy. But
I mean, that's unbelievable. Yet. I mean, he's got more hull shield, the combo. He's got a barrel roll, tons of options for upgrades.
No, okay. What my thing was, not so much if the Auzituck had this dial, but if this ship had the Auzituck dial. Personally, it would be hardly any red, and it could do all the sharp turns. It couldn't turn around, but if it's got a turret that's dropping bombs every round, right. I don't think it needs it as much. I think if this ship
depends on what you're doing with it. Yeah, but
right.
What about that forward straight, y'all? Man, you can lay waste into a cluster of TIE fighters or Z-95s or whatever. Zoom ahead on a 4 white and come back screaming bloody murder, man. I mean, that thing, it can reposition almost.
Yeah, having the barrel roll is nice too. On top of that, that's the other thing. The barrel roll, you have to take that into account.
Barrel roll, wow, dude.
Yeah.
And like you said, all the turns. I mean, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good dial. If it had like a Koi Grand turn on top of the Talon rolls, it'd be pretty awesome. If it had like a green turn, obviously it'd be better. But it's for a heavy bomber ship.
Right.
Thematically, this is a really very maneuverable ship. I still not really clear why it has a barrel roll, but whatever.
Right. Oh, and for those who didn't know, it was in a video game, like a Nintendo 64 video
game. Maybe did barrel rolls in the video game. So let's launch into the pilots here. So at pilot skill 6, you have Saul Sixa. And Saul reads, when dropping a bomb, you may use the 1-turn templates instead of the 1 straight template to drop it. So you can like shoot bombs out your left and your right.
I think it's really cool, but not like game breaking.
Yeah.
I think that like you can really mess up somebody's day with it, but it's not gonna be like the thing that wins you the game like all the time. It's a cool mid pilot skill pilot ability that's just kind of nifty. That's what I see.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, it might be more powerful than we're thinking if you combine it with like a turret, a good turret, maybe a twin laser turret and bomb generator, but that's 9 points right there. But you could use it to like really effectively maneuver away from people and like turn away from them. Say if I'm like turning left with this ship and I drop my bomb left, it might be hard for people to avoid the bomb damage. You know what I'm saying? And still get a shot at me. But I don't really. It's a cool little ability. I don't expect too much of it, like you said.
I think if you actually use something like counter nets more to hunt particular aces, it's probably more effective. And I just never really use counter nets because I'm not really hunting aces because I'm not really playing meta. So that's probably why I'm not thinking it's as cool as it is. But I think it would be funny if you actually had this person and maybe like bombardier on the ship, so you could drop it to like 1 right or left. A hard turn or like a 2 straight back. Like you do crazy bomb stuff would be kind of funny.
Yeah, that would be good with the
broken, but funny.
Have you guys seen a bat fly when it's hunting for bugs?
Yes.
Yep.
You know how it'll wee in a little circle in a tight pattern, left and right, back, circle.
Yeah.
It'll get a bug and then zoom away in a swoop. And once he's eaten that one, he'll come back and then wee all around the light again to get another one. That's what this damn thing can do.
All right. let's look at Captain Nim. So Captain Nim, there's two versions. There's a Rebel version and a Scum version. It's the first time that you get that in one pack. And he reads, you may ignore friendly bombs. When a friendly ship is defending, if the attacker measures range through a friendly bomb token, the defender may add 1 evade result. Whoa.
And this is the Scum version.
Whoa. Yeah, Scum version. Whoa. Pilot Skill 8. Did I say whoa?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
He's not going to, if he flies over a friendly bomb, he's not going to explode it. If he has like a turret, he could, fly forward, drop a bomb, and then shoot back through the bomb. But anyone shooting him through the bomb, like cluster mines, I think would be obviously the best. So they cover more space.
Yeah.
He's getting a free evade. It's almost like he was being obstructed by the bombs, except it's better obstruction. It's obstruction usually just gives you 1 green die. This is 1 free evade result.
Yeah.
This is sweet.
And he's obstructed when you're shooting at him, but not the reverse.
Right, and it works for all your friendly ships. What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all your Z95 swarming ahead.
God.
No worries. Yep.
See, I see more like using Seeks because they can barrel roll. Or maybe some of these new cheap Star Vipers and stuff that have all these barrel rolls and boosts and things. All these more maneuverable ships that could maybe zip around and perhaps get into all these crazy places where they get the extra evade.
Jim, were you bad mapping Z95s in the Scum faction?
No, I just am not excited about them. I like the other ships better.
Jim, Black Hole Sun, baby. Are you crazy, Jim?
I just like the other ones better. I'm not saying they're bad or I think they're, I dislike them. I just like other ones more.
Look, man, I got 14 Z95s for a reason. I'm starting to doubt that you're a casual player.
All right. I like Seeks. You hear me? What I'm saying is not I like the other more broken ship. It's like, no, I like this ship that's usually generally considered shittier, crummier. So,
hey, man, my HUD cartel's full of Seeks, man.
All right. Yeah, so that's crazy good.
Yeah, it's pretty good ability, man.
Yeah.
And then imagine all those Z95s with their torps going off, man. Or their missiles.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. This thing with 4 Z95s stocked up with missiles, man, that's just great.
Yeah. All right, do we want to go to the Rebel version?
Yeah. So, Captain Nim Rebel, Captain Nim is Pilot Skill 8 again. Both these guys are 30 points. And his ability is that once per round you may prevent a friendly bomb from detonating. Which is also very cool. So if you fly over one of your bombs, you can prevent it from, detonating on you. If you have a bomb that you've dropped and it's not going to do any damage, you can... It's like a proton bomb or something like that. You can prevent it from detonating and just hold it until it's actually going to do some damage. So, using that ability like that, you can drop a proton bomb in a part of the board that you want to just cut off from enemy access, and just keep your finger on the dead man switch there until you get the chance to actually explode it and do some damage. You could effectively cut off big areas of the board with this thing.
And I say, just to make it even worse, if you take the title and then you take the Salvage Astromech Genius for 0 points, that's the one no one ever uses just because no one ever remembers what it does. If you're equipped with a bomb that can be dropped when you reveal your maneuver, you may drop the bomb after you execute maneuver. And it's the Genius because normally when those bombs that are dropped usually have like a 1 range radius and then it explodes at the end of the turn. So what it's saying now is you can actually move and then drop your bomb, which is going to hit you. But now you can move, drop the bomb, but then don't let it detonate that turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can indefinitely have it hang there. So you can have it hanging there every single round until the one round you want it to go off.
Remember what I said about them Z95s and the Scum faction?
Yep.
Same thing here, but put blue stripes on them.
Oh, we give him Dead Man Switch.
And Captain Blanche waiting to help.
Now, also, one of the things, the upgrades that we can kind of go into now or not, or to think about later, is the system. So Minefield Mapper, which do we want to talk about now or later? But I think about particularly with this particular ship. So let me go through that real fast. It is a new system card. It is one of these things I said it's probably going to be a fix for the TIE Punisher, and everyone's like, no way, TIE Punisher is never fixable. But Minefield Mapper, during setup, after the place forces step, so basically after everyone's put your ships down on the table, you may discard any number of your equipped bomb upgrade cards. Place all corresponding bomb tokens in the play area beyond range 3 of enemy ships. So what it's saying is, if you've got bombs on your ship of any kind, after everybody's done placing your stuff, you could take those bombs, discard them, and put them on the table before the game starts.
Yeah.
As long as they're at range 3 of everyone. Now, there's some debate whether extra munition tokens count as bombs. There's debate, and I don't care. I believe they're probably going to say extra munition tokens count as bombs, because when Boba Fett, which can remove an upgrade card, goes to remove your bomb or missile, it can remove a token as instead of the actual card. So whether it's rules as written now, it will then probably be errated to be rules as intended, that surely your tokens. So what if you've got like extra munitions and you've got these 2 bomb slots, you could put down 4 bombs per, before the game even starts. And if you've got, like, I don't know, Biggs and the Ghost wanting to run up and down one side and TLT you to death, and that's their entire strategy, you can line that freaking side up with a whole bunch of bombs. And one of the things that's interesting is you can place down one of these bombs that explodes at the end of the activation phase, like a seismic charge or a proton bomb, and you could have it sit there and use the Rebel special ability to suppress the explosion every round. Do that one round, you get somebody in range, and boom, you blow it up.
Yep.
And see, that's why I was saying them Z95s. Can you imagine about a half a dozen Z95s flying with that? And they've got to kind of move around your bomb stuff you've laid out. That's what I was thinking ahead. I didn't go into that, but that's what I was thinking, man. I mean, dude, that MZ95s can really lay those missiles and really nail the coffin shut at the right time.
Yeah.
I know Z95.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting card.
Too far.
I was looking at this thing going kind of like, holy crud. You put it in the Epic game, and you can get multiple, let's say like the Cutlass Squadron Punishers, several of them, and if they're going to lay out potentially 4 bombs, like clusters and proximities, so you actually get a lot of area coverage, you start dropping 8 to 12 bombs out on the board, and maybe it doesn't even have to be you could be with the Skurg here. And then you throw Nim on the table, where you're going to get the obstruction effect for all of your teammates, and you just kind of hang out behind your stone wall, if you will.
Yeah.
And just start.
If you and I were on the same page of the stupid level of this thing, it's like exactly. I'm just going to build the classic circle the wagons thing with the Connor nets, and just build a circle out of them.
Yeah.
Hey, look, as long as I build it at the right range, I can just turn 2 every turn with my turreted ships right in the middle of it. My turreted Y-wing with the bomb.
Cluster mines do better. Someone's in the forums used Vassal to kind of project what it would look like if you could take 4 TIE Punishers with 2 sets of cluster mines and extra munitions. You could actually create a ring around their entire list that there's nowhere they can get through except for through cluster mines.
Yeah, but the problem with cluster mines, and if Jason's listening, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about, is they suck. I mean, let's just go ahead and put it down. Anybody but, me or Jason uses them, I could drop 18 of them on your ship and they might scratch the paint. So, but to Biff's point, this card in epic play, to me, is almost too dangerous because, like, if you build a list, as he was saying, let's just do 2 Punishers. Let's not even go to the crazy level that he went to. I'm going and we play like the classic or what we think is the tournament. You need at least 100, 120 points on an epic ship. Congratulations. Your epic ship is going to run through my minefield. I mean, there's nothing you can do to prevent me dropping, 4 bomb tokens per Punisher right in the path that your epic ship's going to have to go through. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. Because you can't stop the epic. It's just going to have to keep rolling through.
Well, it is at range 3, so the epic, even an epic ship, could be able to actually veer out of its range.
To a degree.
To a degree, depending on the map.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To a degree, but I mean, the bombs would, and even if it does, it's like, oh look, I know exactly where that epic's going to be. So
you know what you could do? You could even create a corridor. You could have it say, look, you can go straight, you're fine. Everything else is blocked. So you've got escort ships. They're going to either come behind you or they're going to hit mines, and that epic ship can go straight. I know exactly where you're going to be.
So one limiting factor here that I think is the case, and we should acknowledge, is current thinking on this is that you're probably not going to be able to use extra munitions to drop 2 bombs on the first turn because once per opportunity
there's
rule.
debate over it, and a lot of people argue rules as written at the moment, and all those people who argue that are usually it gets errated as soon as it comes out, and they're like, well, it's okay now because rules is written before blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think you want to wait to an errata to lose your cool about this, essentially.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, there's a reason that they had to come out and pretty much immediately errata the aggressor title.
Yeah, that was a little more clear, but yeah.
That's my plan, aggressor title, like 2 days later. Okay, yeah, guys, stop. Just stop, you stupid people. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How many people are actually thinking that was going to happen next month?
Right.
See, even if you can't use the extra munitions, I still think it's pretty powerful because, sure, I'll put 2 out and then I'll just hold on to 2 and dump them later. But, you know, that's okay.
My thoughts on this are people who think they can use this to castle are probably going to be a little disappointed because...
very disappointed.
I think if you wall yourself off in a corner of the board and I'm playing you, and you've got like a couple of turret ships or something, I'm just gonna do circles in my end of the board too. We'll have a very nice conversation as we fly circles on opposite sides of the board. I'm not gonna do something stupid like that. We'll go to final salvo. You guys know that? Remember how final salvo works?
Yeah, it's the ultimate fortress.
If you spend all that money on bombs and turrets, you're probably not going to have that good of a primary attack value. I'm betting I can probably beat it.
That's the thing that's a little dangerous. That's why I could see for Epic this being a little bit of a crazy card because
Epic it is a problem.
General play, like general casual play with the 1-on-1, 106, whatever. I'm not going to put these on my Punishers. I'm not a Punisher player, but there's much better use for a system slot than this. I think Punisher.
See, I don't know. You see, if you look at like the PS2 type Punisher, 21 points, it's a 0 point upgrade for a system slot is that Mind Mapper. Then you add on like a couple of bombs. And you can take unguided rockets, and you can ensure that your entire payload can get placed on the board and create all these various choke points and stuff with like just a quarter of your points. And then you still got that. You still just basically move around and do your focus unguided rockets every round.
Yeah, but who do the choke points hurt more, you or the other guy? It's not always going to be the other guy.
But yeah, if you play it right, it can hurt the other guy. And it all depends on what the other ship is and how the asteroids place. But if you actually plan your list with something that you know is going to cause choke points,
there's one other question I have for you. Okay, so a board is how many range 3 brackets wide?
It's basically three.
Right. So if my starting increment and your starting increment are 1 block wide, how many range brackets are left? Anybody do the math right fast in their head? 7, right? So you have to be at least 3 away, so you're almost at the middle of the table already with those bombs, is what I'm getting at here. So you're really not choking off their deployment zone. You're just kind of cluttering up the
cluttering
up the middle
zone.
of the table.
I never said deployment zone, but there are avenues of approach and how the asteroids and stuff are placed. You can set things up, but you could really limit, because depending on how they want, if they want to fly all together and stuff, like you've got Biggs and somebody else, or depending on if they've got a tie formation or whatever they've got a large base ship, you can close off avenues of approach. You could say, oh, there's an asteroid cluster. They're either going to go right or left to this asteroid cluster. Boop, boop. You put your bombs on one, well, they're going the other way.
Yeah, I guess,
Right.
it's more of like a finesse weapon. That's what I'm trying to say here, is that don't think of this as a brute force weapon where you're going to completely close someone off. You really have to be careful and think about where you're actually going to put these bombs, I think. And keep in mind the other guys are going to know that these bombs are coming. Maybe use it to, as a bit of like a psychological game where you make him deploy in a weird way because he knows you have minefield mapper, and then you just take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe if he's worried that you're going to, like, trap him in one corner of the board, maybe he'll spread his guys out more than he should. That there might be a bonus that you get from that, an advantage from that, but who knows how much that's gonna really matter.
And I'll say everything's situational, and sure, some lists it's maybe not going to affect anything, but some lists it's really going to hurt. Like I keep thinking of Blake, who keeps doing Biggs and the Ghost, who just goes up and down. I don't know how Blake flies it, to be honest, but I know how a lot of the tournament people fly that particular list. And you just go up and down one side of the board, and all you do is TLT and back and forth, rinse and repeat. And you can really mess with that if you put that stuff down.
That ain't even a game.
Right. Well, you can make it more of a game by putting a whole bunch of bombs in his way.
You mess him up good like that. He's like, oh, now I got to actually play?
Yeah.
Oh, no, now he just goes to the other side of the board.
Yeah, but
it's not so easy.
You got to get there.
Because you put those bombs down after he put the ships down. So.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I meant, but all he has to do is take a hard right or a hard left to go to the other side if that's all. Or, just go up and down his own deployment zone.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
Well, if you've got it, could it be outside range 3? You can put some on either edge, so you can put some in his own deployment zone at range 3 of his ships.
Yeah, but then they're so spread out. It's probably not going to make too much.
You can block it that it can't do that.
Right. Yeah, you're looking at playing a lot of angles. For me, it's the ships that I could put this on. I could find better uses for the system slot, and that's just for me. It's I'd much rather have the the one that makes you. The jammers, sensor jammers, or fire control systems and things like that. I just find more use out of those.
Useful. Yeah.
See, sensor jammers is 4 points though, but see what I see is like what everyone complains about, like TIE Punisher is. Oh, it dies before it can ever really unload all of its ordnance and mines and stuff. And you can take the cheapest one here, and you can pop out a bunch of that stuff before the game even begins, and like that. You've delivered your payload, and at that point on, you've got your just unguided rockets to go forward. Or if you're using the H6,
right,
drop all your bombs ahead of time.
Right, but is payload that's dropped but not used actually is any more effective than not dropping it?
Yeah, you have to make sure that you're getting your bang for your buck there, and I'm not sure that it's going to be too easy. Normally the way people play bombs, they drop them right on the ships, right? They're not using them to
you're trying your best to just
dump them so much.
Something.
Well, I disagree. Some people have used them to choke. I mean, yes, the
conventional
use
like is dropping them on
they like to do it directly on. But there are a lot of clever people who have been able to shut off sections of the board that way. Yeah, I can't say that no one ever does it.
I'd say you're going to see some of that with this. I think that you'll definitely see something like that. Maybe
I think you'll see a lot of that
with Scum Nim to give yourself little sheltered areas that you can fight from and make, divisions that you can use to your advantage. But,
I just
I see
love,
no reason
man.
to panic.
I just love that Nim can come in and keep that damn that minefield of bombs and everything that he set up, and he can keep them off. Oh, don't! We're coming through, guys. Don't detonate. Then meanwhile, here comes the TLT Y-wings and all these Z-95 stocked up with missiles and planning to give that extra kick. And they're like doing like you were just saying, man, back and forth, but not really playing. And now you put the thing where they kind of have to stay in a pigeonhole of one half of the court because we get those dangerous laid out in term one.
All right, you're breaking up.
Listening now.
The idea is,
we get the idea.
You corral them. Yeah, you basically corral them. As you say, you've got your C-95s with missiles. You block off a couple approaches. You can really kind of control the approach of the game. Yeah, and
it's a real war game.
Phil, you said nothing to panic about. I'm not saying this is some sort of OP broken thing. That's for dang sure. But I think that you'll actually see people. I think it'll be options to use this and use bombs and use type punishers.
Yeah, I could see it being an effective. It all comes down to practice. All this comes down to practice and kind of how you implement it. But I could see someone using the scum version of NIM with this, or I guess with another ship that could drop it if there's one over there. And then fill out the rest of it with highly agile ships if there's enough point, and just try and keep the fight in that cluster of stuff, with the idea being, if I make a mistake, I can keep it from actually blowing up on one of my guys. Yep. Whereas I'm going to get cover from them while I'm in this cluster trying to fight somebody. But your opponent might know that already. He might be like, all right, well, he's going to try and fight me with these little crappy Seeks all around inside this in this little cluster of bombs, expecting to get free evades, from shots and things like that. But,
or Fang fighters who want to be in range 1 and stuff. But I also think it also works for the Imperium too, because they've got a lot of little agile ships. And yeah, you can't do if they hit a bomb, and suppress it. But if you do a type punisher, cheaply you can throw out that stuff and then still have a bunch of these small agile ships that can get into that fight range.
And if a few TIE fighters blow up, oh well.
Yeah. So I feel like I feel almost like we're kind of rushed. There's so many things to kind of talk about with this, because let's go over some of the other upgrades, and I kind of want to circle back to just even the H6 in general. What we think of it. So there's the crew card for Cad Bane.
Right.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, what is he?
For anyone who doesn't know, Cad Bane is someone from the Clone Wars cartoon. He's a bounty hunter. He's actually pretty darn cool.
He was Boba Fett's granddaddy.
Or mentor, basically.
Yeah. So
he was the first Boba.
Yeah, he's named unique. He's scum only. He has a bunch of text. Reads, your upgrade bar gains the bomb upgrade icon, so like Sabine Wren. Once per round, when an enemy ship rolls attack dice due to a friendly bomb detonating, you may choose any number of focus and blank results. It must re-roll those results. So, bombs like proximity mine, clusters, bomblets, those are good for Cad Bane.
Yep.
And he adds the bomb slot to ships, so...
Yeah.
So I might overlook that, but that's pretty cool.
So basically, J-Bot should like this guy.
Yeah, now you can do the double.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely do. I think it's a very neat card. Just as it has that very specific, only enemy ships have to deal with that reroll. Like, so if you're caught in your own explosion for one reason or another, you don't have to force yourself to reroll. It's not everybody rerolls. It's just the enemy ship that strayed too close to the bomb. So
now,
I like that. It's very neat.
Some people say that it's not as good as Sabine, Rebel Sabine. And other people have pointed out that, hey, this is a clear example of that. We know that there was a nerf for Sabine coming because it's not as good, but whatever.
Yeah, but Jimbo,
I don't see that.
You've been talking a lot of great stuff about the TIE Punisher getting the alley-oop, and it did. But man, fire sprays, dudes. They got 2 bomb slots with Cad Bane on board, man.
Yeah, but wait, but there's other things to do with the fire spray, but I don't kind of want to get there. I kind of want to first finish up with H6 and then get into other ships that are affected by all the various upgrades, because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of stuff that you can deal with for a lot of this stuff.
Heck
so
yeah.
I'll even say with Cad Bane, you can even stick it on, say, like a Hawk.
Yeah, for Scum you could, sure.
Yeah, I threw that out there for J-Bot, but yeah, and put it on to the H6 Skurg, but not the Havoc. So it'd have to be the non-Havoc one, which will make that still pretty interesting. So Cad is probably going to be on more of the generic or the other named one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So overall, I think there's so many freaking things you can do on this ship. I mean, with the turrets, you can do things, and it can barrel roll. So, I mean, that right there means, like, and that dial is so good. You can do auto blaster turrets. And if you have the Havoc on it, title, you could do auto blaster turrets with flipping accuracy corrector.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, that's freaking crazy. You could just, bam, 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 2 turns, Fenrir's dead.
It's a nice ship, man.
It's crazy. You can do TLTs, and you can do like the bomblet generator, which every round you're pumping out a thing. It's like you can really mess, or you can do a bunch of Connor nets. You can do like lots of crazy things with this ship, with the title, without the title, with all the different things. You could get really absurd with this ship.
This is one of the best ships they've made in a while, man.
Now, what if you totally just take the generic? So what's the cheapest generic? Where the heck is it? There we go.
24.
Carthac Pirate, 24 points, 3 attack, 1 evade, 5 hull, 5 shield. How much was like a freaking B-wing? Or if we look at this is Scum, so and we don't look at any of the upgrades, like we're just kind of keeping it as is. Just keeping it cheap. 24 points, focus, target lock, barrel roll. What are the other, and it's small base ships. What are the other ships in that price range? We're looking at like the Karax fighter. And if you're looking at like the cheap generic Karax, like the Cartel Marauder, well, maybe a Black Sun Ace. That's when you might start putting some upgrades, or you can start doing the Cartel Marauder with some upgrades. You're looking at like the cheap Star Vipers. You're looking at the cheap Fang fighters, or at least does this thing, even as just like the PS1, how does it hold up versus other options of the same?
Definitely better than average.
Yeah, I think it does pretty well.
I think it's like just even as it is, 3 attack die. All those freaking hole and hits to chew through. I think it's pretty good.
The thing about people complaining about these bigger, small base ships, man, I know a lot of. I'm sure we all know this, but just as a little observation, this is technically a large ship.
It's a big model. It's like a medium-sized ship. It's like a medium-sized pack. There are a few other ships that came like this, like even the Star Viper came in like a medium-sized pack.
Yeah, man.
K-Wing,
the big little ship.
Also, so it's a small base, but it's a larger blister pack, and it has more cards in it.
Well, tell me something, brother. Didn't it used to aggravate you when a ship like this, or even the K-Wing, when those ships came out, didn't we all say, man, this should be on a large base, or at least a medium base,
Yeah, I would have preferred some sort of like medium base, I guess.
Yeah. But I understand it now. It don't bother me as much anymore because looking at what we've talked about tonight with the dials and stuff and being able to like fly like bats and just zoom, 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 drop bombs and get out. I mean, I see why they're putting these bigger models on these small ship bases now. Before
it's just easier to deal with.
Yeah, I was just aggravated. Why don't you guys make a medium base? Add a new base size if you had these bigger ships. But now I kind of get it how they will represent this thing.
Yeah. I mean,
How do you feel about that?
I guess I'm happy with the small base at this point. I mean, it's probably not worth it to go to a medium base, especially now.
Yeah,
I mean, all the medium base ships are already out, right? I mean, there's a dozen of them.
Yeah, we can just wait till X-Wing 2.0.
X-Wing 2.0.
Yeah. Well, they definitely noticed that was a problem because there are multiple size bases in Armada, so they saw that.
Yeah, they
oops, like we screwed that up. So
look at Armada, man. Armada does everything
works.
right. Yeah, man. What you said, brother. Armada. Yeah, they totally are saying that now.
All right, so Biff, you've been quiet.
Yeah,
I was just kind of thinking to myself that I'm already of the mindset that the medium base is out there. I kind of look at the large, what we call the large, as being the medium because, you got your epic and you got your dinky guys. So I know where you guys are coming from. And, medium base, there's maybe some pluses and minuses that go along with it. But in the broader scale with the stuff that, I'm trying to dabble with more now with the epic play and everything, it kind of reset myself and hey, we kind of have a medium base out there already.
So the large base is the medium base, the large base is the epic base, and then all these little ships are just on the small base.
It's like when fast food restaurants got rid of small drinks because no one ordered them. You had medium, large, and extra large.
Yeah. Oh, they brought them back, but their small drinks are basically like the little sippy cups now.
The little Dixie cup?
I got a small fry the other day. Somebody's like, "Are you sure you want a small fry?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm actually not feeling very well. They're like, "You must not be." It had like 5 fries in it. That's not a small fry. That's like a Play-Doh set of fries. Like that's like what you get if you're making like Play-Doh fries. It was like, why did you even bother with the cardboard? You could have just handed me 5 fries to the drive-thru. But no, yeah, I've had that same argument with this because I know I've used this in the past with the Hawk, but the Hawk is actually bigger than the Scourge. If you go to the Scourge, whatever you want to call this thing, the H6, it's a bigger ship than it by 30 to 40% bigger ship according to the Wikipedia.
To the lore, yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and compare that size-wise on the actual figures. I think they're just making bigger figures so people can see them, or make them easier to paint or something. Who knows?
Yeah, the Hawk should be as big as an aggressor, man.
All right, so what do you guys think overall of the Scourge or the H6? Just, not just the base size at all. What do you think of the ship?
I think it looks great.
I think it's hideous.
I think it's a pretty ship, man.
Well, not even just how it looks. What do you think of the ship? How it fits in the X-Wing?
I think it's a cool little tough little brawler ship that the scum were kind of missing up until now. Like, I think they tried to make this ship with the Mist Hunter, but it didn't work. It didn't work probably because it didn't have the barrel roll native, and you had to finagle your way into it, and had to do like weird things to get that barrel roll, and you can only have one with a barrel roll. This one has a huge toolbox. And I think that could potentially make it dangerous. It can have a little bit of everything. It has a turret, it has a missile, bomb. You can get it has a crew slot. You can make it have a salvage astromech slot, system slot. There's almost it's hard to think of like what this can't equip. Illicit, I get. Does it have illicit?
Yeah, it doesn't have an illicit.
No illicit. Okay. That's pretty much
I'm a little worried it's going to be a little OP.
I think it's going to be good. I don't know about OP, but
it's funny, man. The illicit. I was just this is silliness, but it's fluff and funny. I think this ship comes with the number 70. Okay.
Yeah, on the ID tokens.
Yeah, the illicit slot symbol is the 7.
7. Yeah.
7. But you can't take illicit. It's like, what? You got this number 70 in here. That's their symbol for illicit, and it don't get illicits. What?
That's pretty funny.
I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, I like kind of the dial of the ship and the everything that comes with it. I'm not a fan of the design of the ship, like just as a figure, but I think it's just the scum K-Wing Punisher. I think it's just fitting into that kind of role for them, is my opinion of it. Yeah, it's the I can choose which facing. Do I want to go forward facing with missiles and torpedoes, rear facing with bombs, or do kind of a weird hybrid, which has always been the decision you kind of have to make with Punishers and K-Wings is how do I want to go with this ship? Because it has so many options that you can get kind of overwhelmed if you're trying to fill every slot. So
I think it kind of fits. It's kind of like a mix between the TIE Aggressor and the TIE Punisher. I mean,
It is.
It's got like freaking everything. I don't know. I think you'll be able to build some sick combos with it. I think it's just.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's got a EPT slot, which opens the world up with all those other options. That's the dangerous thing that the K-Wing doesn't have is that EPT slot.
There's going to be some broken things you can put on this stuff. I think that there's like, some of the stuff you can build is just going to be just nuts.
Hey, Jimbo, imagine this thing in Epic. 3 of them with about 10 screaming Kiraxes behind it. The new Kiraxes.
Yeah, I think if you're not building trying to make one super uber one for like 106, and you want to do this stuff for like fun games, I think it's a thematic cool ship that the Scum don't quite have.
Heck yeah, man!
I think it's cool. I do think that Minefield Mapper will break missions.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I was going to bring that up earlier, but you can do all sorts of stupid stuff with that. Like if there's a target that you're trying to destroy on the other end of the map, you can just like drop 5 proton bombs on it in turn 1.
Yeah.
I totally want to put this on a B-wing in Hot AC. That Minefield Mapper.
Oh yeah, in Hot AC especially. It would.
Yeah. Hey, look, here's my B-wing. What do? I just sit here and say that mine and just wait for them to blow up.
Can you take bombs as a B-wing though?
I don't think so.
Oh,
but
with Sabine, I guess.
It's just been funny. I'm sure you can throw Sabine on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, E2.
Yeah, exactly.
E2 B-wing crew.
Exactly.
Think of a Minefield Mapper with a trench run scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely going to mess up some casual games if you let it be used in mission things.
I think.
Before we go past the overview, I do think the H6 there's going to be some combos with it that are going to ruin. They're going to be like the meta broken stuff that people are going to be hating 6 months now.
Oh, it won't be 6 months. I think you give it a week or 2 after it's released, or somebody will already have it by now, probably, but a week or 2 after the figure's released, and it's going to be people are going to be screaming about it.
Hey, I already started, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, people I can hear. I don't go to the forums. That's for crazy.
Oh my goodness.
So I do want to kind of go on and talk about like some other ships that could be impacted. Like I do want to talk about J-Boss. You brought up the Fire Spray, the Andrasta.
I love that ship, man, and to see it get this extra nice poop of doom, where it just dropping little bombs. Man, come on.
So you can get the bomblet thing. So you can get the bomblet for the Andrasta. So Fire Spray, they can drop a bomb every round. That's pretty cool.
Isn't that gosh darn it neat?
It is. I like it. I think
then
it's pretty cool.
again, man, I always play Epic. Man, I haven't played 1.6 in like 4 years. Seriously.
Huh.
I always play Epic thematic, storyline, casual, boom, boom, boom. So for me, man, having a Black Sun Fire Spray coming screaming in with all those Z95s and
You're fading.
I started talking too long. But yeah, I mean, just a Black Sun Fire Spray with all those new Kiraxes and Z95s, I'm good all day.
I think the Andrasta with Cad Bane on a Scum Fire Spray.
Glory.
To be glorious. And also just take Andrasta on an Imperial Fire Spray. You won't get Cad, but you can freaking still drop bombs for the Imperials.
Time out, Jim. Time out. Hold up, Jim. First of all, there ain't no such thing as an Imperial Fire Spray.
Yeah. There's the fire spray that can be used in the Imperial lists, which is short called known as the Imperial Fire Spray. So lots of people don't think it rates as powerful as the Scum. It still exists as an option. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist.
I pretend.
Yeah, you can pretend all you want, but it does exist. and I'd like to see every option conceivably being used, and it's not used very often. But here's a chance for an Imperial Fire Spray to actually maybe perhaps see some table time, and I like that.
I don't like that at all. It should have never been in there.
Well, it was early in the game, and that's what they did before they even had a scum faction. So when they make X-Wing 2.0, they can retcon it. But
no, retcon it. Yeah, you're probably right.
But since they couldn't do it, they didn't have it. They couldn't not have the fire spray in early. So,
well, the thing is, man, this ship makes every bigger, tougher ship in the game. It gives it more flavor, man. Like you, I really appreciate what you've been saying on the forums too, man. And I came in behind you, dropped some of my little emojis for you.
You're fading.
Yeah, I was saying I appreciate what you've been saying on the forums, and that's why I came in and plussed your stuff and put some little emoticons on there to support your point, man. Because people have been saying, "Oh no Imperial stuff." Like, are you guys not reading this stuff coming out?
You're fading.
It really helps all the other ships in the game.
Right. So basically saying like, the Imperials are dead. The Imperials get nothing. Right. Nothing happens in this wave. I'm like, there's the aggressor. There's a bunch of stuff. Oh, the TIE Punisher. This does nothing for the TIE Punisher. And what I look at and I see lately for the TIE Punisher, there's lightweight frame, which gives it an extra evade. There's unguided rockets, which basically is people like, oh, but it's unrerollable. Yeah, but you still get a freaking focus token that you can modify it. It's 3 and so a target lock and a focus token have the same chance. Yes, it's better to combo both, but you can't do that on every single one of your ships. And I know you really like to, but you can't. And just because you can't doesn't mean that's bad. So having a 3-die attack that you can still spin a focus is not a bad attack. So you've got your unguided rockets, you've got lightweight frame, you've got the minefield mapper, which lets you be able to put bombs out on the field whenever you want, and you've got bomblet generator. And what I see with all these various things, no, you're not going to use all of them on every ship, but you have various options. Like, you're not going to use bomblet generator at the same time you use minefield mapper, but you can have TIE Punishers that can drop their bombs on the map ahead of time if that's what you want to do. Or you can take bomblet generator, you can drop the bombs like the little seismic every round that you're going. And that's something that's viable. And that's good. It's a good thing, particularly for like Death Rain. And you've got the unguided rockets. Yes, unguided rockets don't work for Redline, but you just don't put it on Redline. That's okay. That's an okay thing. It's like all these things are making the TIE Punisher much more viable than it was. No, it's not OP broken, but to say that it's like not doing anything and not, quote, fixing the TIE Punisher is ridiculously lack of imagination. It's just
every faction got some new tools in the toolbox with this wave, man.
There's a lot of things to do, a lot of more interesting things with the TIE Punisher, even the generics. And I think that's what's really cool. Like, the generics are actually a conceivable something you'd want to put in your list now. Yeah,
we've definitely been getting a lot more tools for the TIE Punisher, right? It's been a steady trickle. Like you're saying, the lightweight frame, unguided rockets, new systems and better bomb packages.
It's like the TIE Fighter, the TIE Bomber. There was not one fix for the TIE Bomber. There was a whole bunch of little things that gave a bunch of different options.
Right.
Yep.
But like people, you name one thing, they're like, oh, unguided rockets. They go, oh, Redline can't use it. It's terrible. I'm like, that's one pilot.
Why does FFG not love the Empire anymore?
Right. It's just like people are looking to shoot down whatever option. It's very frustrating. Makes you want to start a podcast to talk about it.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or join a good podcast because I'm too lazy. Besides, if it was just me, nobody'd want to listen because I keep fading it out.
Yeah. All right. So it is late, and I do have to work tomorrow. Overall, though, like I could probably ramble for quite a bit about different things. Like, and there's always this stupid, crazy things you can do with the H6 that we could talk about. You know, like what different little combos you could do. And maybe we'll at a different time. But I think we're out of time today.
Yeah.
But Biff, J-Bot, you've got any comments you want to throw in? Anything about TIE Punishers or H6 or the Auzituck or whatever?
I think I'm good here. I think we got it.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't with the Skurg. I cannot help but think of the Super Hornet that's in the current U.S. military inventory. They put an F and an A in front of that thing for a reason. It can do the fighting and it can do the attacking, and I just see this Skurg has got maybe the ability to dabble in everything. And that Super Hornet, they even put a second guy in it because there's so much stuff that thing can do. They got to do a little bit of crew management inside. So,
And just as a note, Super Hornet, a F-18 Super Hornet, just shot down a Syrian ship yesterday. So the U.S. first time we shot down an enemy plane since 1999 happened yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Side note.
Ha
Yeah, I'm not exactly.
I would say I don't want to
celebrating,
insult
but-
our Syrian listeners, but I don't think there really are that many. So
I don't think so either, brother.
Yeah, no comment. Not a politics comment. Not a politics podcast. No comment.
that was not politics. That was just a world event comment.
True.
It was not politics.
I'm not going to comment on it. That would be politics.
All right. So, Joe Boss Red 7.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
You got any final comments? It's been fun to have you on the show, even if you fade in and out. You're kind of like a forced ghost. You kind of.
I am, man. I'm the oldest guy here, so that's appropriate. I think I kind of love you guys, man. It was fun to actually have our first little date after kind of knowing about each other for a while. You know, it was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Did I fade? I was like saying nice stuff, and then I probably faded. I like you guys. It was fun.
I think we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about once these ships come out. Once we start mess with things, there's still a little bit of news. I mean, if you think there's still, what was it? Those cruise missiles we don't know about. I hate guessing. There's a waste of time to me. I'll just wait for it to come out and then we'll talk about it. But
one last comment. Since you bring up guessing, I think I did correctly guess what Minefield Mapper would do. So there.
Yep. And I said it was going to let you put it down after you put your ships down.
Very nice.
I might have set up the forums as opposed to the podcast.
I'll shut up.
Oh, wait, it'll do that. I'm like, it will. That's what it'll do. Yeah. All right, everybody. So it's late. We're coming up to Endor. So, J-Bots, I hope you've got some nice Endor plans, maybe some sort of Ewok spa to set you up with.
Recruitment. It's always recruitment. Never-ending task for human resources. We have a lot of turnover in this place.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for tuning into the Shuttle Tydirium podcast where we make mistakes and you don't have to. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Awesome.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help us continue improving and expanding our channel's content.